Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. Today you will get the review of the Maerker Tier 7 German destroyer, brand new destroyer I should say, or should I say brand new cruiser with a destroyer tag on it. Yeah, I think it's a cruiser with a destroyer tag on it. And I will guide you through in the next 25 minutes how to play the ship, how to perform in the ship. I put you a Kraken game inside so you will understand how to run the ship and what the ship is not about. So I will talk you through my setup and everything you need to know. Let's get it started. Starting with the mods, I've equipped all the standard equipment like precision, like propulsion, like concealment and the gun reload. So this is the basic setup. I wouldn't go for torps because torps are very slow. As a captain, I use Eric Bay. I have tried various configurations, but I'm going full HP setup. So I'm using Sims, which gives you 7 times 400 HP on top to the standard, and I'm using Bergamini, which reduces the incoming damage by 0.3% for every percentage you lost in HP. So given you lose 50% of your HP, the incoming damage is reduced by 15%, which is quite a lot, and which will add about 4,500 HP to a 32,000 HP ship. Next to the two inspirations, I'm using the standard gunboat configuration. So I'm using gun reload in the first perk, the second perk concealment. I don't use mortar because you're already visible enough and I don't want like 6.5 kilometer visibility. And the benefit of 13% better guns isn't worth it because the guns are already good enough. Then we get the gun range in the third perk, which is pretty useful because you want to have a long range gunship here. We want longer smoke and we want more HP with the legendary perk. So, are these ships any good? If you're coming from the point of view of a destroyer, the direct answer is it's not a destroyer. It's a cruiser. Definitely it's a cruiser. It's the smallest cruiser in the game. And yeah, you might question, do I like it? I like the ship, and this ship wins games, but it's a support ship. It's a long-range ship, and it's not a destroyer. And as such, it takes away a destroyer's place, and you are not a destroyer. So the team is getting a cruiser, but it's eaten up a destroyer marker, let's say it like that. So I'm not sure if this is a good idea. But anyways, it is like it is. And in this first game, we are engaging 4 or actually 5 destroyers. So this is Destroyer Wars, and you can see how I play this game. You don't have any detection. You have to rely on your team to do the spotting for you. So if you're a solo random player, and I played all my games so far solo random, you have to make sure that you have somebody keeping the battleships or the cruiser visible for you. Also, you don't want to engage any ships, any destroyers with detection like sonar or radar because you're screwed. This ship is very slow. You have like 35 knots, and with speed boost, haha, is 37 knots. So this is probably one of the slowest destroyers at all in the game. And again, it's much closer to a cruiser than to destroyer. That means you have to do the cruiser job, which is hunting destroyers. The cruiser job is not camping behind an island. The cruiser job is hunting destroyers in the first instance. In the second instance, it is killing other cruisers, especially raider cruisers. And the third instance is burning down battleships. And this is what this ship is very good at. So this ship has the strongest AP. The German AP with 150 millimeter is already the strongest in the game. And this one does a raw damage of 4,000 per bullet, which is pretty strong. And the reload is like 5 seconds. And you can see here with the Sims, I am not using the AP, and the reason is very simple. I don't like to use AP against destroyers, no matter how strong it is, because you're leaving out the chance to damage enemy modules. You want to damage the enemy rudder, you want to damage the engine, the torpedoes like I did here, and you couldn't do that, you couldn't have done that with AP. And to be honest, most destroyers get overpenned with the AP. So you do less damage than with AP. And on top of that, this AP on this ship has a 12% fire chance, which is very good. Like the American gunboats, they have a 5% fire chance. You spam bullets like hell, but you don't make any fires as this ship does. So with this ship, in average, from my guessing, every third salvo or so every 15 seconds, something like that, I get a fire on a battleship. So that's pretty awesome. And that's why I tend to run this ship much more with HE, even though the hardcore players may say, oh, I'm doing everything wrong. Yes, I know. I have no clue of destroyers, like some people say. But okay, I managed my way through. So I cannot advise to use AP in every case. I think it's very situation based. Here, for example, strategically, we don't want to get closer to the Hisyang because this ship has a radar of 7.5 kilometers. So you want to have a long range shooting. You want to be in a position where the battleships don't shoot you, but you have a decent HP pool. And you switch your fires and open up on all the ships. And again, I prefer to use HE to light up the battleships. And as soon as I have 2 or 3 fires on the battleships, then I use the AP on the superstructure. And you get like 3,000 HP per salvo of a battleship. But again, with 2 fires or 3 fires, you also get 3,000 in a constant way. So the difference isn't all too much with this very good HE and the fire chance here. So now in this game, we are in a situation being chased by Baltimore, which is currently shooting at us, and we're going to turn around and have a look at the Baltimore. And then we need to get rid of the Baltimore, and this is when we move out and we keep shooting the Belfast, sorry, not the Baltimore, the Belfast. And we're switching between AP and HE depending on whether he's nose in or broadside. And we're even opening a gunfight in the open water. So you see me moving out of the smoke now because I have to spot him myself. And then we're really kiting him. So I don't know many destroyers where you can have an open gunfight, face mask off with a Belfast, and you win this fight in this ship. And you will see it now. So this ship is all about long-range fighting. AP is very strong. Again, it's the strongest in the game. HE is very strong. It does a lot of fires for a destroyer. So this is probably one of the highest fire chances in the game. And you can even buff it with the generic captain. You get 2% more, so you can bring it to 14% if you're into fires. And the gun range is incredible. It's the longest range in the game. On destroyers, you get like 12 plus kilometers, so you can even bring it to like 12.6, 12.8, something like that. And this surprises most battleships because they stay at a so-called safe distance of 12 kilometers because they think, the destroyer cannot reach me, because most tier 7 destroyers, they reach like 10 kilometers or 10.5, but they barely can hit 11, and not to talk about 12 kilometer. So this ship can hit at 12 kilometer, and 12 kilometer, they can reach from one cap to another. So you see the wide circle of my gun range. So 12 kilometer is really impressive to hit something. So again, we're playing a cruiser disguised as a destroyer here. So let's do cruiser things and fire up the AP. We're loading AP because we're thinking Belfast is turning right, but then he's coming back. So we get off 1 salvo AP, and then we go back to HE and force to HE, and so on and so on. So this is what we do in this ship here. The good thing is it's a very good long-range ship. It is very tanky. It has, as you can see in my configuration, fully HP built, 32k HP, and you have to add about 4,800 HP because 15% is the average reduction of Bergamini. So 15% of 32,000 is roughly 4,800 HP. So this ship in this configuration has around 37,000 HP, and we're talking a destroyer here, with a concealment of 5.6 kilometer. So if you start the ship and have an option in the beginning of the game to enter the cap around an island, then it's a bad surprise for any destroyer without detection. If you're running into destroyers with detection, you better wait until the detection and smoke is gone, because otherwise they will wipe you. So this game is a good example of how the ship performs in a destroyer environment. Again, I didn't rush the cap. I stayed away from the cap. I let them come to me. I made use of my team spotting for me, and then I opened up. So this is the basic number one. This game we are watching now, this is going to be a Kraken, and this game is a very intense game because this is a very last second win, and very interesting to watch the development. So we begin this game, like I said, HE spam on the Synop. We want to take away all these damage controls, and you will see in the very end, because the Synop is the very last ship I will be fighting, how important it is to take away the damage con of this ship, because it helps in the end to burn them down. As you might not know, the Russians, they have a very fast damage con, but they have a limited number of those. So they can repeatedly use it, but only a limited time of, I think, 5 or 6 per game. But they don't have a like 1 minute cooldown. They have only a few seconds cooldown, and but once they have used all the damage cons, they cannot damage con at all. So they have to take all the fires they get, and that's why you want to take them away as soon as possible in the game, because then in the late game you just burn them down. So that's why I'm opening up HE here, taking away some damage cons of the Sinon. And at the same time, we are parking here like a cruiser, like most cruisers, but the difference is we have line of sight to B and A cap. Most cruisers, they park so close at this island, they only can fire A cap, and they cannot do anything useful once they don't have a visual to A cap. So you want to stay somewhere so that you have a visual to both sides, or at least line of fire. So now my smoke is gone, we move on. And initial thought was to go to A cap, but then I see the Friesland coming up in B, and I think to myself, I have to bring down the Friesland because it's a threat to my battleships. And that's why I leave the Jervis. So this is still the early phase, but I will turn around and hunt the Friesland then. And yeah, again, this ship is a cruiser, not very good at contesting caps due to the lack of reconnaissance. So we don't have sonar, we don't have radar, and you're just screwed sitting in your smoke if there's radar around. But again, long range, this ship is very good. So let's come to my conclusion. This ship is not an easy beginner ship. It has a very high skill ceiling, in my opinion, because the new players will bring it into the cap and they will just get wiped. And despite the 32,000 HP, if 2-3 cruisers aim at you, you're still gone in, let's say, 3 salvos. So there isn't much you can do. So you really have to make use of this HP against destroyers, not so much against cruisers. You are good if you're sneaking up on enemy ships around an island, and that is when your torpedoes come in handy. Because these torpedoes are awfully small. They travel with 52 knots and they have a range of, I think, 7.5 kilometers. So and they have a 2-minute reload or something. So basically, this ship doesn't have torpedoes. The only reason this ship has torpedoes and the only use you should make of these torpedoes is when you are behind an island and you know there is a ship around and the ship has turned its guns away from you, like it is a carrier or like it is a battleship shooting somebody on the opposite side. Then you get around the island, you are torpedoes doing 14,000 HP per torpedo, and you kill that ship. But despite that, there is no use for these things. And I wouldn't advise to use them like zoning or whatever you usually do with torpedoes, because you really need them as emergency tool. Because you will find yourself every game in 1 or 2 situations when somebody approaches you around an island and you need these torpedoes. And with a 2-minute reload, something like that, and you fire them just for zoning, you are pants down if you need them. So keep the torpedoes. You don't have many torpedo hits unless you keep them and really kill somebody in the moment you need them. So here now we got the Friesland, we got it with AP. It's good penetration if the enemy DD is angled somewhat, and in this case we didn't need it. We didn't need the to damage any modules because the Friesland was already pretty much damaged, and it was clear that after 2-3 salvos we would kill her. So that's why we were using AP here, and that was the better choice here. And now we're trying the usual stuff, and lighting up some ships. We're switching fires, we're moving more to the sea cap. But again, we're not entering caps. In this ship, I barely enter the cap. Again, it's like a cruiser. We operate around the caps. We're trying to get the battleships, we're trying to get the destroyers, we're trying to get the cruisers, but we're not contesting in this ship. Because as soon as you do, you're usually dead. We get the caps as soon as it is cleared by enemy ships. That is when you get into the cap. But before of that, we do things like this. We defend the cap. And that pays off as well. Talking about payment. Because this ship is not a cap contester, and because this ship deals damage over time, like fire damage, and many salvos, so gun damage. This ship is a pure long-range support ship, and that means you can run this ship and becoming MVP of your team. Personally, I'm quite skilled. I think I do manage to run this ship like other destroyers and become MVP most of the time. But more often I end up second or third of my team. Because I'm lacking the XP rewards for the caps, and you do get XP for the fires. They pay off quite well, but you don't have the torpedoes, and you have a hard time to carry the team. So if you have a team being wiped 4 ships in 3 minutes, there's nothing you can do in this ship. Unlike you would have been in, let's say, Paolo Emilio or Fantask, with decent torps, you run around 2-3 minutes, you sink a battleship every minute. Those are destroyers who can catch up. The Maerker and the new German gun line, the Z-31, the smaller tier, those are not the ships really to carry the team. They are support ships. So you will have a hard time if you don't have a team assisting you with spotting and assisting you with some kills. Then you don't get the kills. This ship will reduce damage of enemy ships, but you barely get kills. I have added the stats of my first 15 games I played in this game. And the win rate is awesome. I have a 72% solo win rate in this ship. So this ship wins games if you know what to do. But it's not an easy play because you have to deal the damage over time. So you have to be very selective. You have to light up the ships. and you have to be attentive and so on and so forth. But if the team goes down quickly, there's nothing you can do in this ship. So my verdict to the ship is, if you like gunboats, if you like cruisers, and maybe if you are a cruiser captain and you want to try some DDs, then this probably is the DD for you. If you're a pure torpedo spamming destroyer captain, make a long run around this line. This is not the line for you. This line is really a supportive long range. Even if you're American gunboat captain, liking to go into the cap and unleashing your torpedoes and using the guns, blazing guns, this is not the ship for you. This ship is really if you like cruiser play. If you like the long distance, if you like to select your targets, and if you like to rely on your guns only, because again, the torpedoes are just for emergency. You could use them here on the migration if I had them ready. But again, this is what I said before, I'm still on 20-second reload when I needed the torpedoes because I wasted them like 2 minutes before on the Friesland. So here my teammate saved me from the migration, but on my own, I probably, the fight would have been close with the migration here, to say at least. So back to the game. Situation is we are only 2 players left. So we need to bring down the Jervis. We're using AP here, and now you can see how devastating the AP is. Jervis slowing down, we are narrowing the firing angle, and we're firing the last one on his position, and that finishes him off. And then is the decision, there's 2 battleships, there is no time for capping, our cruiser is completely off positioned in the bottom right corner, I don't know what brought him there. And we have to chase the Bismarck, we have to light up the Bismarck and kill the Bismarck, and we also have to kill the Sinop, because there's no way we can win this game by caps. So forget about capping, it's all about killing. And the Sinop is still like half health, and the Bismarck we have to take some risk. Long range secondaries, so we have to play with the throttle. You will see I have to catch up a little bit, but he's in good range, 11.5 kilometers, so with our 12.6 range, we get a few salvos off on the Bismarck, but then we are in full reverse to avoid the salvo which is coming right now. And we are quite angled, so typical cruiser play. And we want to get a fire, so he turned off, or he put off the fire, and we're just using HE here to get the final kill. And as soon as we kill the Bismarck, we go into the cap, because we're thinking, okay, maybe the Sinop ran off, which he honestly should have done in his situation. But he was probably too convinced that he's gonna get both of us down or get one more kill or whatever he was thinking. And I was thinking selfish, okay, let's get this cap here and get some more XP, at least for the cap. There's nothing we can do to win this game because the Sinop ran off. This ship is as slow as like 35 knots or 34 knots. So yeah, we can basically camp here. But as soon as we pass this island, the Sinop pops up, and then the final fight starts. And you can see me with 4,000 HP left. But what you have to add here is Bergamini will, with, let's say, this is roughly 85% of my HP reduced. So 85, or let's say 80%, times 3% of Bergamini, that's 25% damage reduction. So incoming damage is reduced by 25% with Bergamini right now in this situation. So whatever he hits me is reduced by 25%. And of course we want to light him up. Like I said in the beginning, I'm pretty confident he hasn't much damage comms left. And since he fired his salvo, his reload is pretty slow, like 25-30 seconds. So we want to make the turn here. In case he pushes in, we can keep the distance at 11 kilometers. We want to have the maximum range to get his maximum dispersion. And luckily for me, my cruiser will engage, and together we're trying to get the CNOT down. There was the second salvo, so we turned out, we're going to turn in again. Again, keep the timer in mind. We have like 20 seconds left, so we can get off 2-3 full broadside salvos from our ship. And since he's broadside now, we're switching to AP now. And now is the time, because the cruiser is firing HE. So we share the workload. He's trying to get the fires. And we're using the AP. And now you can see what the AP is doing. And AP is doing like 3K per salvo, something like that, if we hit. And yeah, or 1500 in this case, another 1500. So, but it's here was a bigger one, 2000 something, but just enough, 3 seconds before the game ends, and we get the kill and we get the Kraken. Thanks for watching till the end. Hit the thumbs up, like the video, leave your comments and suggestions, and spread the word about the only destroyer dedicated channel in the World of Warships Legends universe. Thanks again, and think you out there. Bye bye.